Welcome to Bluegrass Brooklyn, our podcast all about the music we love, straight from the Bluegrass borough of Brooklyn, New York. Welcome to this Monday edition of Bluegrass Brooklyn. I'm your host, Mike Wilner. On these Monday editions, we like to explore music and related topics to our favorite music, bluegrass. Now and again, we come across a music that is clearly rooted in the Appalachian bluegrass traditions and instrumentation, but brings in much broader influences from around the world. And of course, we have to mention the Gray Fox Bluegrass Festival. We are podcast in residence at that festival. It's up in Oak Hill, New York on July 15th through 19th. Please remember to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Bluegrass Brooklyn, Brooklyn spelled BKLYN. You can drop us a line, Mike at bluegrassbrooklyn.com. If you're looking for jams in Uptown Manhattan, Bronx, Riverdale, New Jersey, and increasingly around the world, check out bluegrassjamsnearme.com. Okay, let's get to the interview. Okay, so here we are with Mary Lucey, member of the band TANASI. Mary, first of all, thanks for taking time today.
Mike, I'm so happy to be here with you this morning. Thank you.
I understand you're coming to us from the mountains of Western North Carolina.
Yes, I'm coming to you from our home in the mountains outside of Asheville.
First, I'll have to ask you the name of the band. Can you give us some idea where that came from?
We were wanting to come up with something that reflected something that we're all interested in, which is roots music. And when we started thinking about the roots of Appalachian music, we recognized that the roots go far beyond the Irish and Scottish and African influences that created Appalachian music. And so we started looking at some Native American names, and the Eastern Band of Cherokee inhabited this area, and the capital of the Eastern Band of Cherokee at one point was called TANASI, and it also means bend in the river. And I thought that the name was beautiful. It ended up becoming the name Tennessee, and we contacted the chief over there, Chief Hicks, to see if it would be okay for us to use the name, and we got permission from someone in his office to use it.
I've listened to a bunch of your music, and it's an interesting mix. First, why not introduce the other members of the band? We've just got Mary here with us, but let's hear who else is in the band and what you all play.
Okay. Anya Hinkle is a beautiful singer and songwriter and guitar player. And she has been doing all sorts of great experimentation with her guitar playing over the last couple years since we've been focusing on this music. She is fluent in Japanese. She's had a deep interest in the Japanese culture for a long time. She also has a PhD in ethnobotany. She is a very creative and inspiring person. And Billy Cardine is my husband. He is the dobro player. He can play everything. And to give you a little bit of an idea of who Billy Cardine is, when he was about 3 years old and started playing piano, his mom would have to come and pull him off the piano to come have dinner. And then he'd go back to dinner and she'd have to pull him off to go to bed. At 3 years old. And he had a deep interest in music from around the world from a very young age. He would make his parents take him to the record store and would get music from around the world. He's always had an interest in other cultures and other roots music, as well as all sorts of American music. He was the guy who was playing for 10 hours a day in high school, and he played so much he actually ended up having to get carpal tunnel surgery. And that was part of the reason why he started playing the dobro in his early 20s. And he studied under all the greats and then started to transcribe different music on the dobro. And there was a lot of limiting factors And it wasn't until he came across a fella by the name of Debashish Bhattacharya, who is a master slide guitar player. Most folks would argue he's the most technically advanced slide player in the world. He actually won the Principal India Award when he was 13. So back in his early 20s, somehow before the age of the internet, he found out that he was teaching at the Indian Classical Institute up in New York City. And so I dropped him off on the corner with a bag of bagels, and he spent a month up there studying with him. And then we started going to India and studying with his family this would have been 2005, was our first trip over there together to study with them. He has been able to take a lot of these incredible techniques and apply it to all different styles of music. I think that Billy can pick up a cardboard box, and I know that it's him playing just because of the way he phrases things, and he's so playful and creative and imaginative, and really puts the song first. He's one of the musicians that really listens and highlights melodies and likes to play tasteful things, even if that includes a lot of silence. And I find it to be a pretty unique and rare, beautiful to approach music.
I read something like 10 rules or something for musicians by Chick Corea, and a lot of it has to do with listen, don't play unless you have something to say. And when you said what you need to say, shut up, let other people talk. And it's like, it's exactly as you're saying. How about yourself?
I started playing music when I was young. I started singing when I was young. My parents said that I was singing basically as soon as I was talking, and they called them my epic songs. I would just sing for hours on end. We had a musical family. We were always making music together. I had a bunch of siblings and went to church every Sunday. And I think that is where I started to really focus a lot on harmony. All of this was in my subconscious, and it wasn't actually until I started spending a lot of time with Billy that he was like, dude, your ear for harmony is not normal. I think it was from singing all those melodies, and they would be out of reach, either too high or too low. So I would just sing all the melodies in harmony. That was my way to be able to participate, because I wanted to be able to sing. So from there, I started on guitar and played piano and a little bit of cello, and had some bands in high school where I mostly did singing and songwriting. In college, I went to the University of Virginia and took a really cool African drumming and dance class. It was taught by Michelle Kisliuk. She taught music from Central African Republic and Ghana and Togo. There was also something called the Prism Coffee House in Charlottesville that Fred Boyce was an incredible curator of music from around the world. And it was this intimate home. It was like a living room style. And the first show that I saw there was Norman Blake and Tony Rice. And you can imagine the world shifted there. So I started looking for more of that music, and I got inspired by the Stanley Brothers. And I also had some really cool influence of Appalachian music when I was in middle school. I went to a camp called Nature Camp, and Carrie Fridley from the Freight Hoppers, she's an incredible banjo player and singer. She was one of my counselors. And so she and a couple other women would sing us to sleep every night, and we would have square dances. And it was my first exposure to a woman playing banjo, and I was so inspired. Billy and I moved down to this area because we wanted to start a band and shift things a little bit. And we heard that you can't throw a rock without hitting a fiddle player here. And that's when we started our band, the Biscuit Burners.
You play mostly hammer banjo with the band?
Yes, and stand-up bass.
Okay, so how did you and Anya run into each other?
I've known Anya for a long time as being an incredible musician here in the Asheville area, but it wasn't until around the pandemic that we got together. We just reached out to each other and really wanted to check in and see each other's songwriting process and just sing some together. And it was a pretty magical experience just from the get-go. We started playing more and more together and quickly roped Billy in there. And we actually did a bunch of private parties during the pandemic small weddings and things like that. And we started learning each other's music and did a little bit of touring with each other for our own projects. It was 2024 that the Durango Bluegrass Meltdown reached out to Anya and asked her to bring a bluegrass band. And she didn't have one. We were like, well, maybe we should debut this trio. And that was when we came up with our name. And that was the festival that kind of solidified our intention to create a group as the three of us and play some music together.
So you guys are newborns, or you're toddlers at this point, pretty much.
Or indeed, yeah.
That's awesome. So here's a tough question. Characterize your music for me, please.
Okay. So I can give you an idea of what we are like at this moment in time.
Okay, fine. That's going to have to do.
We have taken on this title of WorldGrass, which is just, a classification that we're trying to let people know that we're interested in music from around the world. And we play Appalachian string instruments. So this band at this time is playing music from South Africa, West Africa, Nepal. We've got Indian influences. We've got good old time music from these mountains. We've written quite a few songs, and quite a few of these songs from around the world we have adapted either with lyrics or with melodies a little bit and made them our own.
It's interesting to listen to some of your music where it's clearly being influenced by I'll use the term world music, and yet the instrumentation is so, let's say, classically Appalachian. How much music have you actually recorded at this point?
We have just recorded one album.
Is there one song on that album that sort of pops out to you as your favorite, or one that just is top of mind that we might want to listen to a little bit of here?
It's very hard to pick a favorite.
Of course.
I think folks might enjoy listening to the song Mahala. Yeah, this song, Billy and I learned from a South African slide player. He plays with a spoon in his mouth along his guitar. TANASI. And a fella by the name of David Kramer was a revolutionary musician back during the apartheid there in South Africa. And he made it one of his goals to go around to different villages and try to find folks playing music and figure out a way to help continue the legacy of the musicians to the next generation. So getting instruments, recording music, similar to Alan Lomax here in the States.
Let's have a listen to Mahala. I think listeners would find it interesting how their ear is drawn in what a familiar way, but then are getting different sounds and different rhythms and everything. So it's very cool.
One of the things that we're enjoying just talking to folks about is just, I feel like so much energy is put into talking about differences these days. And there's so many similarities between people, more so than differences, of course. I'm a home health nurse, and I feel like I spend a lot of time with people who are very different than myself here in Western North Carolina. And it doesn't matter at all because what is important to us, it's all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And music, one of those beautiful uniters of people. And we've had the privilege of being able to play music with folks from around the world, traveling to different countries. And sometimes we can't speak the same language, but we can sit down and play for a couple of hours together and share in community in that way. And I've been able to go and play our music in villages and, get little kids laughing and smiling and dancing. It's just the best feeling. So a lot of this music really is quite similar to the roots music from around here. And it's been fun to figure out ways to integrate it.
Well, music is definitely the great unifying force in the universe. Everybody's got it. It's a language everybody understands. And the more music we put out in the world, the more positivity we're putting out in the world. So good on you.
Yes.
When you're doing this album, is it just sort of let's do the first 6 or whatever songs that come to mind, or was there some unifying thought process behind what you decided to put on that album?
We started just coming up with what songs do we enjoy and what songs from our own personal repertoires do we have. But the songs that ended up migrating onto the album were mostly songs that we have created together during this time. We spent about a year playing together, touring, and the music that made it onto the album were songs that we were developing together mostly. There's a cover from George Harrison that we had learned. So, we integrated that. And there's a song from Nepal that Billy and I learned when we were over there that we ended up writing some English lyrics for when the three of us had a 10-hour layover at the Heathrow airport.
Time well spent. Before we run out of time, I want to ask you, the songwriting process sounds like you do a lot of original music. It's got to be interesting. You're not just sitting down and saying, I want to sound like the Stanley Brothers and coming up with another 1-4-1-5 type song. The music is very varied and got a lot of influences. How does that happen in terms of the songwriting?
Well, I will say that to write a song like the Stanley Brothers as simply as they do and to make it sound that good is actually really hard.
That's true.
It just starts with an idea and we see if it works. Somebody will have an idea, like the Tune On Our Way was one that Billy had learned. It's a Yoruba folk song. And instead of doing an African percussive drum ensemble, he was like, what if we took our instruments and made our string instruments into the different parts of the drumming? And Anya and I wrote some words to go along with it. So it's basically whatever wild idea somebody has, we just take it and go with it and see if it'll work. And sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't.
That's got to be fun.
It's really fun. It's the best.
Do you guys get to do much touring?
We do. Yeah. We've had a lot of fun getting out there. And this year is shaping up to be a busy year in support of our new record.
Right. So your touring started in May. Let's hear a couple of the highlights that you're looking forward to hitting.
We're playing Red Wing Roots Festival in Virginia in June and Rocky Grass in July, Strawberry Music Festival this fall. We've got a bunch of great shows that we're excited about. We're going to come see y'all in the Northeast in November.
Good. Make sure you swing through Brooklyn.
Thank you. We'd love to.
So how is it that you guys, who it sounds to me like have busy lives, find time to just get up and tour?
Between my job as a nurse and being a full-time mom, which takes all my priority, we have to do a lot of working with grandparents and other friends. And luckily I work part-time. And so sometimes I'll work like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then take off for the weekend and sometimes make it into a long weekend. And I get some good time off. So we just try to work around everyone's individual schedules, and Billy and Anya do their own things as well as TANASI and do a lot. Billy does a lot of teaching. Anya's got some great touring she does on her own as well. So we rope off time periods, and then we get inspired by sometimes target festivals and things like that.
Well, Rocky Grass is going to be a lot of fun. I know that's a biggie.
Oh, we're so excited. It's the best. Billy and I are teaching as well, and our kids will be there. So
That's awesome.
really looking forward to that.
So for those listeners who may not be that familiar with music around the world, and that's, that's a small rowboat in the big ocean when you're saying, here, go find out and listen to that stuff. It's very difficult for someone to just sort of navigate. What guidance would you give to someone who's primarily, listening to bluegrass and Americana music to get a little bit familiar with music around the world?
I would say if you're into slide guitar, Debashish Bhattacharya is a really amazing place to start. Ali Akbar Khan is another one of my favorite slide players. We have been playing a lot of Hawaiian music lately. Bobby Ngano is on my mind a lot. All the old slack key players. I think the easiest thing to do if you're interested in learning roots music from around the world is just to pick a country and do a search for roots players. And you'll find you have access now to all these old field recordings and just, music that's not going to be popping up as the first thing on Spotify or something like that. If you actually do some Google searching, and you can go down many a rabbit hole.
Well, Mary, Billy, thanks a lot for your time. And it was great to meet you, and good luck to you guys.
Thank you so much, Mike, for taking time to talk with me today.
It's such a pleasure to get to hear music that openly combines all different influences, yet maintains that identity and roots in our bluegrass and Appalachian music traditions. Thank you to Mary for joining us and sharing so openly with us about the music. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Please remember to follow us at Bluegrass Brooklyn, Brooklyn spelled BKLYN. Drop us a line, mike@bluegrassbrooklyn.com. Check out jams, bluegrassjamsnearme.com. And see you next time. Until then, we look forward to seeing you around the Jam Circle.